Okay, for those who don't know, I'm Scott Rigney. I'm going to try to make this as brief as possible so we can get on our way up to the party. I retired about 6 years ago now and decided to get into uh, coming down and helping out with the recreational league. Came down and watched a couple games and was just like shocked to see how professional the fields were and everything, only to find out that somebody had been actually taking our fields and renting them out and making money off of us. So I decided to get involved. That's how it all started. I got to work with the Malta Round Lake Youth Recreation and with Dan Cooper and Tracy Cooper, which are they're related to the Cooper family that I grew up here in the village. They did about 4 seasons from when I was here, and handed the torch off to Lori Sievers, who's actually right now the president of Malta Round Lake Youth Recreational Baseball. He's here with us today. Lori actually had a vision right off the bat, and she had a push to get a new field put in through grants and from the help of the town of Malta and the village of Round Lake. She has a heck of a lot of motivation. Every time I think that I could maybe run for a position that that would maybe a board position or something, I always look back at some of these people that do these things and are just incredible how they get things done, and I don't think I'm quite there yet. But I want to thank Lori for having her vision. On top of that, at the whole time when this was going on within the last 5 years, I have a good friend in the village, Jack Tuck, who was my coach growing up, and I always wanted to leave. I always wanted him to be a part of something and have his name left behind in Round Lake. So when the new field was going to be built and come into place, I always had in the back of my mind it'd be great to be able to dedicate to him. That being said, I didn't want to step on anybody's feet because this is Dominic Pasquarel Recreational Field. So I thought it'd probably be a good idea to rededicate the field. It's a lot different than it was when we were kids. We have 2 new fields to the right of me, and so I gave Gary Pasquarel a call. He was very, very excited about it, and I went forward with this idea, and it looks like it's turning out pretty good. So Gary and his brother Joe are with us today. Dominic, I didn't really know. I know him as a kid. He was our neighbor across the street. The Pasquarels actually lived in Gary Putman's house right now. And Putman's house, our mayor of Round Lake. Let's have a round of applause for Gary, too. So I would actually, just to make this formal, on this day, June 2nd, 2018, to rededicate the field today to Dominic Pasquarel. And before Gary and Joe get out of here today, I'd ask them to stop and have a picture taken by the new sign that was actually repainted by a committee of people, but mostly of Amy Leach. Did an absolutely gorgeous job on it, and it's beautiful. So if we get a picture of you guys before you leave, and what we're going to do is make a nice framed picture and have it sent out to you. Okay, so this has become onto Jack Tuck, where I went in front of the board of the village board to ask if I could dedicate the new field that was put in. I actually contacted Lori and thought it would be a good idea to do that. We were going to try to push for opening day of baseball. That didn't happen. I thought this would be the next best event to do it. If anybody here doesn't know Jack Tuck, Jack was he was a great man. He was my scout leader. He was my baseball coach. He was a great singer for a band in the local band here in Round Lake, and beyond, just had a love for sports, love for youth, and very, very involved with the community. He had a lot of history, and he knew a lot about the village. Jack became sick, I would say, maybe about 5 years ago, and started to deteriorate quickly. And I was in hopes to have this day done with him in our presence, but we didn't get a chance to do that. But he's here in all of our hearts. I was fortunate to be with Jack and his niece for the last 3 days that he was on this earth, and it's a special one in my heart, and I'm glad I can do this. This would actually be a dream come true for Jack, and it would be a dream come true for me to actually sit here and talk for him too, because he would never be able to do that. He had a great heart, but a hard time talking to people. So in closing, not to be corny, but if you knew Jack, it would be very fitting. I'm going to read a speech from a famous movie everybody probably know, and I think Jack would probably he was a very, very big movie buff, knew a lot of things word for word. He probably knew this, I'm not sure, but it seemed to be fitting for today. This is from The Field of Dreams. People will come. They'll come to Round Lake for reasons they can't even fathom. They'll turn up your driveway, not knowing for sure why they're doing it. They'll arrive at your door as innocent as children longing for the past. They'll walk out to the bleachers and sit in their short sleeves on a perfect afternoon. They'll sit where they sat when they were children and watch the game. It will be as if they were dipping themselves in magical waters. The memories will be so thick that they'd have to brush them away from their faces. The constant through this all the years has been baseball. Round Lake has rolled by like an army of steamrollers. It has been erased like a blackboard and rebuilt again. But baseball has marked the time. This field, this game is a part of our past. It reminds us all that once was good and can be good again. And I believe it is good again. So, in closing, I'd like to say, first of all, I don't know if I ever did this, I'd like to officially dedicate the field. Not the field behind me, but the new field beyond that. On the day of June 2nd, 2018, that the field may be named Jack Tuck Field. So from here on, let's move up and get the parade started and head up to the village. And everybody have a great time. And like I said, everybody try to be safe, and we're going to have a great day. Turned out beautiful. Thank you all.